Eddie guided me out of the bedroom into a dimly lit hallway. I glanced around, trying to appear casual, but I was actually surveying this new environment intently, trying to familiarize myself with the layout and keeping a sharp eye out for any possible points of escape. I seemed to be on the second floor of a 2-story house. The upstairs hallway was dingy and somewhat decrepit. The paint faded with years, the plaster cracked, the ceiling water-stained where the roof had leaked. The air was musty and stale, as if the house hadn't been aired out for a long time. Eddie led me past 3 more doors. One of them, leading to a bathroom, was open. The other 2 were closed and securely locked with big padlocks. At the end of the hall was a stairway leading to the first floor, and beside the stairway was a window. A window that was tightly boarded shut, just like the one in my bedroom. Eddie brought me to the stairway and we descended into the living room of what I assumed was his home. I looked around, my eyes widening with disbelief. It wasn't just my bedroom Eddie had dressed up to resemble a set from Till Death Do Us Part. Eddie's living room was an identical mock-up of the Glover family living room set from the show, right down to the tacky, run-down plaid couch in the center, which had been the main focal point for the audience. Same cheap furniture and gaudy wall decorations. Same shabby beige carpet. Across the living room, I could see the front door. A window on either side. Both windows had been covered by plywood, and the door had 2 deadbolt locks on it, the type that need a key to unlock. I knew the front door was almost certainly locked, but for a second, I considered taking my chances and pulling away from Eddie and sprinting for it. And then I remembered the gun, my gun, tucked in his pants. Eddie led me through an arched doorway into his kitchen. I stopped dead, staring incredulously at what I saw. After what I had already experienced so far, I hadn't thought there was anything else that could surprise me. I was wrong. The kitchen was also a replica of the Glover kitchen from Till Death Do Us Part. I noted that the small window over the sink was also boarded up, but I had been half expecting that. What I hadn't expected was that the Glovers themselves would be there. In a manner of speaking. The table was set for dinner, and seated there were 4 department store mannequins dressed like my fictional family from the show. Each of them had a picture of the face of the actor that had portrayed them, apparently printed off the internet using a color printer, taped to their respective faces. George Denton, a familiar character actor who had played the Glover patriarch Glenn, Emily's disgruntled, overworked father, who had sadly died of prostate cancer 15 years before. Miranda O'Donnell, a faded TV star from the 70s who had played Patricia Glover, Emily's shrewish mother. Last I'd heard, she'd retired from acting and now co-owned a greenhouse in San Bernardino with her husband. Trey Cullen, a minor heartthrob from the mid-90s who had played Tucker Glover, Emily's sex-starved older brother. He had quit acting after appearing in a slew of direct-to-video movies throughout the late 90s and early aughts to pursue a career in music. Spencer Newton, the child actor who had played Jesse Glover, Emily and Tucker's precocious, smarter-than-his-age 10-year-old brother. He had gone on to become a documentary filmmaker. Eddie dragged me in front of the table, then stopped and turned to me with an expectant look, clearly waiting for me to... What? What did he want me to do? I looked at him dumbfounded, and then looked at my family, seated at the table, and then back to Eddie. Seconds passed. Eddie just stared at me blankly, saying nothing, waiting. I felt a stirring of panic, sensing that he was getting impatient and any second he might go off and have another violent outburst. Finally, I decided to just improvise and hope for the best. "Well, guys," I said, speaking to the lifeless mannequins, "I guess me and Eddie are going to go out on our date now." I glanced at Eddie nervously out of the corner of my eye, hoping what I had just said had been what he'd been anticipating, and detected a small smile of approval. I felt relief. Eddie fumbled in his jacket pocket and took out a small tape recorder. He turned it on. Miranda O'Donnell / Patricia's voice spoke from the recorder with a metallic, filtered quality, speaking her dialogue from the show. Eddie must have recorded it from an episode. "Well, don't you look like a nice couple?" she beamed. Emily, you're such a lovely young woman, and Eddie, you're such a charming, good-looking young man. Trey Cullen/Tucker's voice came from the recorder, jumping in with a quip. Yeah, if you're Helen Keller, maybe. This was followed by the canned laughter of the studio audience. Patricia scolded him. Oh, Tucker, stop it. Eddie's a fine, handsome boy. She addressed Emily and Eddie. You two have a great time tonight. George Denton/Glenn spoke next, adding in a dry, slightly threatening tone of voice to Eddie. Yeah, but don't have too good a time with my daughter, kid. We're on a budget and I can't afford bail 3 times in a month. Again, the audience laughed. I felt a peculiar stirring of sad nostalgia hearing their voices. It brought back memories of my time on the set filming those episodes with them. The 5 of us had bonded during those 3 years we worked together, and had almost really been a family. Back when I had been a young, naive actress, still optimistic about my future in Hollywood. I had never watched Till Death Do Us Part after it was canceled, even though most of the episodes were now available for free viewing on YouTube. Mostly out of embarrassment. The thought of seeing my younger self on TV mortified me. I had buried most of my memories of the show in the furthest recesses of my mind. But hearing the dialogue we had recorded together on that long-ago studio soundstage was dredging those memories back up. Eddie, you're such a charming, good-looking young man. And right then, it came back to me. I made the connection. Eddie Caldwell. I felt like I had been punched in the gut. Why hadn't it hit me sooner? Eddie Caldwell had been a recurring character from the 2nd season on. The unpopular school nerd who was the butt of most of the jokes in the episodes he appeared in. The one who was bullied and cruelly pranked by the popular kids at Fugate High. His misery and misfortune played for laughs for the entertainment of the audience at his expense. Eddie, who had been hopelessly infatuated with Emily Glover and whose love had been unrequited. Eddie, who Emily Glover finally agreed to date on Valentine's Day out of sheer pity. This guy, whatever his name was, didn't just think I was a fictional character from Till Death Do Us Part. He thought he was too. He thought he was Eddie Caldwell. Oh, jeez, I whispered to myself as Eddie led me by the hand out of the kitchen to wherever we were going next.